Hi, my name is Kayla Knowles. I'm the Director of Production and Design. This is my 5th year at SPA. I've been teaching here for 4 years. I've been the director the whole time. Most of your students have already had me before, but if not, welcome. I'm super excited to be teaching Art History and Stagecraft 1 this year. If your student isn't in one or these other classes, I do apologize. You might have to watch multiple videos. I usually talk about classes in pairs just because they're the ones that most students are taking at the same time, but they're not necessarily the only way to sort of progress through the production and design scope and sequence. A little bit about myself. I spend most of my time at the school. When I'm not teaching, I do the after school program. So more of your students might even know me from doing after school crew, as I am the technical director. When I'm not at school, I'm usually watching films, playing video games or board games, and reading and making references that your students can pretend not to hear and not to understand, but they do. I know they do. I've been doing production and design since I was in middle school myself. I started in 8th grade and I've been doing it ever since. So I am extremely passionate about teaching this to kids. Like I said, these classes usually go together. They're not necessarily always together. So your student might be in art history, but Stagecraft 2, or your student might be in Stagecraft 1, but not art history. So there's a variety of different ways, but these are the way the classes are normally paired up. So I'm going to go through both of them together. I do apologize if that means you have to watch multiple videos. I try to make these short and sweet. So students in art history, the 9th grade art history class is actually changing next year. So this is the last year that we will do a breadth focus versus a depth focus. We are actually changing it. So 8th grade and 9th grade take art history, and you do half in 8th grade and half in 9th grade. So it's a brand new sort of scope and sequence, if you will. So this is the last year that they'll be learning everything from prehistoric on in 9th grade. We are starting with prehistoric and Paleolithic art now. Stagecraft 1, like art history, is very focused on breadth, right? They're focusing on learning all of these techniques and terminology and tools and procedures of these different areas of stagecraft. Production design is split into 3 areas. That is stagecraft, film arts, and visual arts. So this year, your student is taking visual arts and stagecraft arts. In their 11th and 12th grade year is when they will focus on film arts again. So just kind of a quick, brief rundown. Your student accesses class through Zoom calls. The art history Zoom call is from 9:25 to 10:15 every Monday and Thursday, and the Stagecraft 1 call is every Tuesday and Friday from 11:15 to 12:05. This is kind of what your student sees when they log on to the Google Classroom. The only difference is usually it will have deadlines and due dates here. There aren't currently a lot of due dates because I've given students a catch-up week with the testing and the 3-day weekend. But when your student clicks into a class, they will see a breakdown of sort of what is in that class. Most classes, what I have assigned is weekly discussion boards, weekly warm-ups, weekly assignments, whether those be projects or note sets, and then sometimes there's participation work just for something that they came to class and they did. In art history, we just covered Paleolithic art last week, and the students had to do a note set based on a presentation. Everything that I have, I post up so a student can access if they miss class, and I also have these highlights that a student can watch that'll actually have the missed lectures in them and what is due for that week. A couple things about my grading policy. So students can submit work late, but only certain work. Students cannot submit tests late, and they cannot submit discussion boards late. It's because these are usually talking about the subject that we are focusing on that week or the next week, and so they are time sensitive. Things that a student can submit late are projects, notes, participation work, and warm-ups. These things can be submitted up to 2 weeks after the due date without any penalty. After those 2 weeks, I no longer accept them. I just want the student to move on. I don't want them to focus on sort of their behind work. A student can access all of this through the Google Classroom. The warm-ups are under this classroom procedure sort of tab, and then the discussion boards and projects are always going to be split up by week. So you'll notice there's no week 5, and that's just because we are skipping this week as sort of a catch-up week. so that students can catch up on any work in art history or Stagecraft 1. When we start doing Stagecraft 1 and we start doing more physical things, dependent on if we are in person, online, or a hybrid, I might be sending home material sets. So just kind of keep an eye out for those. Those of you who are in Artist Techniques have already seen some of the material sets that we send home, but just know that there are some things that we will be asking you to provide, but anything that is like a one-use item, we're going to try to provide as a school. Last but not least, you can check your students' grades by going to the Coco Spa website and then clicking here on this tab that says Power School. So classes over Zoom, materials over Google Classroom, grades are over Power School. And Power School is updated once weekly. I try to grade usually Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday every week. And so you'll see your students' grade updated on those days. I suggest that parents and students sort of check this out and look for updates weekly. There's also a really cool Power School app that will send you push notifications when I update grades. So super important to keep track of your students' grades, especially because on there I've also got a repeat of the deadlines that are on the Google Classroom. And it shows you if I'm still accepting work or not, because it will say missing on an assignment if I'm still accepting it. Last but not least, you guys can, I think I said that twice, you guys can contact me through email. I do not let students turn things in over email. They must turn them in over Google Classroom so that my email can primarily be focused on communications with students and parents. If your student has a very quick question, I also answer over Google Hangouts, which they can access through their email accounts, which is sort of a chat feature in which they can talk to me through. So email, Google Hangouts, and then I also have office hours every Thursday. You guys will be getting a link to that very shortly in your emails. They're 10-minute one-on-one sessions with students, and you can reserve up to 3 sessions in a row if you want more time. They're for students and parents, meetings, if you guys want me to go through the work that your student might be missing, student help, anything that can be done during those Thursday office hours. I hope you guys have a